Epekto sa bansa ng US-Iran deal at ang working visit sa Russia ni Pangulo Marcos Jr. ating pag-uusapan kasama si Professor Froilan Calilong, political analyst at political science professor ng UST. Prof, magandang tanghali po. Welcome back sa Bagong Pilipinas ngayon.
Yes, good morning. Good afternoon, Josh, at good afternoon din po sa lahat ng ating mga taga-subaybay. Thank you for having me again.
Sir, unahin po natin itong ano pong posibleng agarang epekto sa Pilipinas nitong kamakailan lang peace deal sa pagitan ng Estados Unidos at Iran.
Well, magandang balita ito para sa ating mga kababayan, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga OFWs na nasa Middle East. No? This is something na talagang medyo matagal na nating inaasahan because this is going to, number one, reopen the critically blocked Strait of Hormuz to commercial shipping. And then also, kinakailangan natin ito para magkaroon talaga ng agarang relief para sa ating ekonomiya. No? Because the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, alam naman natin, it really triggered soaring inflation and massive oil shocks globally. So, itong peace deal na to, it really offers a lot of psychological relief to Philippine financial markets technically. And we need to also understand, however, na hindi ito kaagad-agad magre-resulta sa instant stabilization. No? Kasi alam naman natin, malaki yung epekto ng mga nasirang infrastructure dito sa Gitnang Silangan. There were a lot of infrastructural destruction, depleted inventories, and yung sea mines that clogged the strait. It will take several months before domestic pump prices normalize to pre-war levels. Pero ang maganda kasi dito is that yung escalation ng kaguluhan is medyo na-resolve na, no? At hindi na tayo aasa pa na mas magiging masisipa yung kanilang kaguluhan dahil alam naman natin na kung magtatagal pa itong paglalaban sa Gitnang Silangan, mas lalong magiging malaki yung epekto sa atin. So this is really a very much welcome development insofar as the Philippines is concerned.
Okay. Well, sir, sa libo-libo namang OFW na naghahanap buhay sa Middle East, ano naman po maaaring maging implikasyon nitong US-Iran peace deal, partikular po sa usapin ng kanilang kaligtasan at job security?
Well, una-muna, may malaki tayong, we have a massive portion of global merchant ship crews, karamihan sa kanila mga Pilipino. So yung formal na pagtatapos nitong hostilities, it will directly mitigate or result into extreme safety hazards. Ibig sabihin, talagang mababawasan na itong safety hazards na kinakaharap ng ating mga maglalayag, especially those that traverse the Middle East. And syempre, for many OFWs also who are working in the Middle East, this will create a semblance of stability somehow dahil yung kanilang mga pinaglilingkuran ng mga kumpanya at yung iba sa kanila nangangamuhan, maaaring tatawid ito sa isang mas epektibo at mas stabilized na ekonomiya ng mga bansa sa Gitnang Silangan na siya naman magiging dahilan din para mas maging secured yung kanilang mga hanap buhay. So definitely magiging malaki yung epekto nito, particularly dun sa continuity ng kanilang panunungkulan, yung kanilang trabaho, at syempre yung remittances din na maaari nilang ipadala sa ating bansa, mas magiging maayos din ang magiging resulta nito. So definitely this is something na talagang magiging positibo yung outcome para sa ating bansa.
Okay. Now, from your perspective, Prof, can this be taken as an opportunity para po mas mapalawak pa ng Pilipinas ang pakikipagkalakalan at kooperasyon sa mga bansa sa Middle East, or should we wait for several months bago natin mas palawigin pa yung ating relasyon?
Well, actually, every time naman nagkakaroon tayo ng isang disruption sa ating economic or even in the case of political imperatives, it always presents opportunities afterwards. So ako naniniwala ako na in the aftermath of this war, challenges definitely, pero tingin ko magbubukas din ito ng maraming oportunidad para sa atin. Unang-una, yung rebuilding ng infrastructures na sinabanggit ko kanina, that will require a lot of manpower, that will require additional human capital, which of course we have and we could offer to the Middle East. So siguro magiging isang magandang panukala on the part of the government that we provide this much needed human resources to these war-torn areas para matulungan sila, mas agaran yung pagre-rebuild. So, I don't think na kailangan pa nating magkantay ng ilang buwan. Kasi kung meron naman silang kakayahan, they have the financial resources for rebuilding, I think mas magiging maganda kung mailalatag natin ito sa lalong madaling panahon.
Alright. Well, ito naman po kasabay ng pagbuti ng sitwasyon nga po sa pagitan ng US at Iran. Papunta naman sa Russia para sa isang working visit si Pangulong Marcos Jr. At ano po yung kahalagahan ng pagbisitang ito sa kasalukuyang geopolitical landscape?
Well, malaki ang epekto nito. Unang-una, ang ating Pangulo ay pumupunta rito sa Russia to represent yung kanyang posisyon sa ASEAN. And I think this is, remember that he co-chairs the ASEAN-Russia Commemorative Summit alongside Russian President Vladimir Putin. So this structural leadership role, it provides him really with a lot of diplomatic cover, and it allows the Philippines to engage deeply with Moscow without necessarily having to appear na parang nagbe-break siya ng rank sa Western security allies like the US and the European Union. So because he is acting on behalf of a 10-nation bloc, reinforcing ASEAN centrality. But on the flip side, itong one-on-one bilateral meeting niya with Putin, it shifts strictly to Philippine national interests. So Manila may be capitalizing on Russia's desire to pivot yung trade towards Asia to negotiate favorable direct state-to-state economic relief, lalong-lalo na itong nagdaang digmaan sige ng silangan. It exposed a lot of vulnerabilities ng ating bansa, particularly because we are very much dependent on Middle East crude oil. Now, if we will be able to strengthen further our relations with Russia, na alam naman natin na isa rin sa pinakamalaking oil exporting and oil producing countries sa buong mundo, maaari nitong ma-shield tayo from potential shocks that may happen in the future. So I think in reality, itong kanyang pagbisita sa Russia, it's more of a calculated blend of multilateral duty, economic imperatives, and also a bit of historic symmetry. Kasi nga, medyo matagal na rin na panahon mula nung nakapagbisita yung kanyang ama dito sa Russia. So I think this is something also that's very good.
At kaugnay nga niya nabanggit mo, Prof, na usapin sa enerhiya, inaasahan tatalakayin din sa Russian visit na ito ay kasama rin yung pagkain at posibleng kooperasyon sa nuclear energy. Paano po ito makakatulong sa pangmatagalang energy security ng Pilipinas?
Well, this is very, very good in so far as we know that Russia is one of those countries that really is able to fully utilize yung kanilang nuclear power, and we could learn a thing or two from Russia based on their experiences at kung paano natin ito magagamit. Alam naman natin that the Philippines is one of the countries in whole of Asia na medyo mataas talaga yung ating electricity or yung power generation cost natin. So if we will be able to really tap into nuclear power as an alternative energy source, it will really mitigate yung cost ng ating electricity, and definitely this will be very good, especially for investors who would want to invest in the country, given that medyo mapapababa nito, ideally, yung ating yung presyo ng kuryente. So mas magiging daan ito para mas maraming mapuhunan sa ating bansa.
Okay. Balikan ko lang, Prof, yung nabanggit mo kanina, dahil nga may mga nagsasabing sensitibong hakbang ang pakikipag-ugnayan raw ng Pilipinas sa Russia dahil sa matibay na alyansa natin sa Estados Unidos. Sa inyo pong pananaw, Perhaps you can expound more on that. Paano po mababalansin ng Administrasyon Marcos ang relasyon nito pareho sa dalawang bansa?
Well, yun nga, no, as I was saying a while ago, ang kagandahan kasi rito is that when he went to this visit to Russia, he brings with him parang he's wearing two hats. No? One is that he is the head of the ASEAN contingent, no? And at the same time, he is also the president of the Philippines. So basically, pwede niya magamit talaga ito to leverage on furthering our ties and maybe engaging more commitments with Russia, no? Pero yun nga, we need to also understand that medyo kinakailangan niya talagang mag-ingat din because we maintain a very good relationship also with the United States, no, and with the European Union. So I think dito makikita natin how he will be able to balance yung tinatawag nating diplomatic mechanisms. No? Number one, how he will be able to make the Russian president understand that what he is after are potentially good reforms and investment packages for the country, but at the same time on the security level, ito kasi yung mas volatile na issue dito, no? Siguro hindi ito masyadong i-amplify ng ating Pangulo para ang kanilang usapan mananatili lamang doon sa level ng usaping pang-ekonomiya at saka mga social economic imperatives.
Okay. Well, sa kabuuan, Prof, ano po ang pinapakita ng dalawang kaganapang ito? Ang US-Iran peace deal kasabay ng pagbisita ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa Russia tungkol po sa direksyon ng foreign policy ng Pilipinas sa ilalim ng kasalukuyang administrasyon.
Well, actually, these are very, very positive reprise, no? Especially kung titignan natin yung domestic politics natin masyadong magulo. At least itong mga nangyayari sa labas ng ating bansa, these are really positive measures that will somehow insulate or mitigate itong mga nangyayaring kaguluhan sa loob ng ating bansa. And maganda rin na ang ating Pangulo, at least he is trying to take charge and is actually trying to take the lead in this case. Particularly itong pag-broker niya dito sa kanyang pagbisita sa bansang Russia, which like I mentioned a while ago could be very, very influential in trying to potentially give us maybe investments, security dealings, particularly in energy, no? And at the same time, siguro maganda rin dito nating tignan kung paano tayo makakakuha ng panibagong linya ng pagkukuhanan natin ng mga ng oil, no, especially dahil nga medyo volatile nga itong sitwasyon sa Middle East, no, even after the US-Iran war will finally be concluded, no. So maganda yung development, particularly itong sa US-Iran war, dahil nga kahit paano medyo makakahinga na tayo, no, na nakikita na natin na yung crisis maaring unti-unti nang matapos. Siyempre kasabay nito yung pagluwag sa presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin na siyang nagpapahirap sa ating maraming kababayan. So I think this is really something na kabang-abang, no, in the future.
Okay. Well, panghuli na lamang, Prof, since nabanggit mo nga na medyo magulo yung ating domestic politics, do you think itong mga isyong kinakaharap natin, particular na sa Senado at sa iba pang sangay ng pamahalaan, do you think this will affect somehow the credibility ng mga state visit ng ating Pangulo sa mga susunod pa niyang pagbisita sa ibang bansa?
Well, of course, to some extent, especially in this Asian time, alam ng mga bansa na kaibigan natin or maaari ng mga bansa wherein we maintain diplomatic ties with kung ano yung current political conditions in the country. Pero syempre when the president goes there naman, he actually is there, no, as a representative of the state, technically as a representative of the Filipino people as a whole, no, not just a particular faction, not just of a particular political party, but he is there to represent the country as a whole. And I think this is what the president should take into his heart and his mind, no, na ang nire-representa niya rito ay yung buong bansa, no. And that kung ano yung layunin at kung ano talaga yung purpose ng kanyang pagbisita, kinakailangan manatili tayong nakaangkla lamang doon. At for sure, hindi naman magkakamali siguro ang ating Pangulo kung paano niya babalangkasin yung mga kinakailangan, mga mahalagang aktibidades na kinakailangan niyang gawin sa mga bansa na ito.
Alright. Well, on that note, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras at sa impormasyon, Professor Froilan Calilong, Political Analyst at Political Science Professor ng UST. Thank you, Prof.
Salamat po at mabuhay po kayo.